We are Movie Menu Reviews. Happy holidays!
Yay! Happy Halloween!
On today's menu, we'll be reviewing Bumblebee, Mary Poppins Returns, and Aquaman.
Full show.
Welcome, ladies and gents. I'm Dan the Man Muñoz, host of Movie Menu Reviews, your weekly movie news and reviews podcast. Live on Facebook.
Yeah, we are.
And no, I am not a rapper. Just my hat's tilted to the side just to be cool.
And
for lighting purposes.
And for lighting purposes.
Yeah, for lighting. It's like, okay, we're good.
100%. Now you can see my face.
It's all about the angles.
Yeah. Apparently.
Yeah.
Also joining us today, who is a rapper, is my co-host and senior panelist, Z. He raps gifts.
Yeah.
That is entirely not true. I am terrible at wrapping gifts.
I didn't say you were good at it.
Oh, okay.
I just said you do it.
I wrapped the gift without a lid, and so there was like a hole on top. And then
were they cookies?
No. But I wrapped.
You put newspaper?
No, but I wrapped. No, I put a T-shirt in there.
Paper mache.
Yeah, I wrapped it over that, and it's like as soon as somebody got it, or like they could easily just pierce the top because I'm not good at wrapping things.
Well, yeah. Someone who's good at wrapping nothing. Also.
Yeah. I just.
What do you think I'm going to say? You?
I don't know. Well, there's no one else here.
That's why. It's my co-host, Mike Stay.
Hey, it would have been great if you were announcing yourself.
I almost did.
No, that would have been all. Yeah.
All right, so we have a lot to cover today. So first is the movie news of the week. Several trailers were released, or I should say a couple trailers were released. Mm-hmm. First up, we're going to talk about Men in Black International trailer. So we get the Revengers. They're basically back.
Revengers. I forgot about that. That's good. Yeah, they are back.
Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson from Thor Ragnarok.
That's right.
That make part of the Revengers.
Yes.
Are back for now to fight aliens.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of the trailer for Revengers? I mean, Men in Black International.
Well, I mean, I think the first thing that is evident is the music. It's the old score, which for me just kind of made me happy listening to it again. Yeah. And now here's the other thing too. Like it's got a hip hop background as well while the trailer is playing, but the beats and the way that it plays reminds me a lot of the cartoon. Now I don't know about you guys, but I loved the Men in Black cartoon.
I never saw it.
That was a cartoon.
It was brilliant. It was probably better than the movies. Like,
really?
Part 1 for Men in Black was really good. Part 2 was okay. Wow. Part 3 fell apart, but the cartoons were always solid, and the music for it was hip hop.
Interesting.
It was like the Men in Black was really well done.
Uh-huh.
And so I really enjoyed watching it. And it reminded me a lot of the cartoon. The way that the monsters are being shown, the aliens being shown, looked a lot like the cartoons. And I'm like, maybe they're taking an influence from the cartoon, but clearly they're also, paying homage to the original Men in Black. Because I think you see in one of the shots, you see a shot of a painting of the original Men in Black. So that's great. I think that's fantastic. But I honestly, I'm looking forward to it because the Revengers in Thor Ragnarok were great together. And so putting these two together, Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth, is just, sign me up. I want to see it.
I think Chris Hemsworth is now like solidifying himself as
he's found his niche.
Yeah,
he's found his niche.
I think as like this like action comedy role, I think it works for him.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I think he does a good job.
Do you think he's the next Arnold? Like in that sort of like
or
the next Rock, I guess. Since Rock is now.
I guess that's a good reference, Arnold. Like you thinking of like Kindergarten Cop or something?
Yeah, totally.
Sure, maybe this is his Kindergarten Cop era.
I mean, it's better than his rom-com era, so it's totally fine.
Would you want to see a Kindergarten Cop remake with Chris Hemsworth?
Actually,
that actually sounds
that
great.
Does sound pretty good.
Yeah. I would totally sign up for
it.
All right. We should start our own production company. Get that greenlit right away.
Let's do it.
But what did you think, Dan?
I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was funny. Can't be any worse than 3.
Right, 3 was really awful. You got Liam Hemsworth in this now, so that's. I feel like Liam
Neeson.
Oh, sorry, Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson. Sorry, Liam Hemsworth is the brother of Chris.
Which would be interesting if the brothers
are in there. Yeah. That would be a great...
No, it wouldn't be that.
well, the brothers were in Thor Ragnarok, right? One of them was in there as well.
I think one of them played Thor. No.
He played Thor, yeah. He played Thor in the small little play.
Yeah,
so it makes sense. But Liam Neeson's in this. And as soon as I see Liam Neeson now, after watching Widows, I just think he's a bad guy. He's the bad guy. He's gonna be the bad guy.
Well, it's funny. Emma Thompson's in this, and it's nice to have a counterbalance with the older generation of Emma Thompson and Liam Neeson and the younger Revengers together.
Yeah.
So I feel like the dynamic is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's directed by F. Gary Gray.
Yeah.
So that's like what did he direct? F. Gary Gray directed
Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah, Straight Outta
Compton.
Compton.
Recently.
I'm looking it up here. But the Straight Outta Compton. He did Friday. Recently, he did The Fate of the Furious.
Yeah,
that's what he did.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So sign me up. I think he knows how to direct action. He knows how to direct drama. I don't know about comedy, but
I like the scene. Where there's like all these hidden weapons in the MIB cars.
Yeah. It's like on the rims, really cool. On the side
headlights.
mirrors. Yeah.
That was really cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
So if they have more fun stuff like that, I'm looking forward to it.
totally.
Yeah.
All right, so the next trailer we're going to talk about is Hellboy, which is a reboot. It's not a continuation from Guillermo del Toro's creations of Hellboy 1 and 2. So this is completely different. Though the creator of Hellboy helped write this film. And he also said that this is like the closest way he saw Hellboy in his head if it was to become a movie. So on that note, after watching this trailer, what are your thoughts?
After watching this trailer, do you need to go back and read the comic books? Because this is definitely not like the comic book. So that's where I'm a little confused about this. It's directed by Neil Marshall, who I am a huge fan of. He's directed Game of Thrones. He also did The Descent.
Oh,
yeah. So he's a really well-known director,
Okay.
so I think it's the right property put in his hands. He's definitely no Del Toro, so there's going to be less monster play, it looks like.
Yeah, it looks like all the monsters are mainly CGI, no really practical puppets or anything.
Yeah.
Well, it looks great in the very end when of the trailer. It starts to reveal like creatures from hell.
Yeah.
And just the way they look, it reminds me of like a horror video game.
Silent Hill?
Yeah, it does. It does look very much like.
I got it's like Silent Hill.
Yeah, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give it a shot.
But my concern is like it just kind of looked a little bit too comedy. Like I know that Hellboy originally had a lot of humor in it, but like this just feels like a slapstick movie, and I'm not really sure that's the kind of mood I want to watch a Hellboy movie. Do you guys know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I know what you mean. It could be the cut of the trailer.
It could be David Harbour. He's pretty good at like in Stranger Things balancing the humor with drama. So I think they're showing us a more lighthearted trailer to begin with, and then they'll go with the darker trailer when they.
That makes sense.
I'm assuming. I mean, if I was in marketing, that's probably something I'd do.
Yeah.
So I don't know why it's getting so much hate.
Well, it's because the original Hellboys were freaking amazing. Like I personally think that Hellboy 2 was like a work of art. Like that movie. And
it's really really well, but I feel like give this one a chance.
Yeah.
Oh no, totally. Like, we can't judge it just yet.
And how do you feel about Ron Perlman no longer being Hellboy?
I think that's totally okay. I think David Harbour looks the right. I mean, it's heavy makeup. Anybody in the Hellboy makeup's going to look good in it. But I think that because it's no longer Ron Perlman and it's David Harbour, like I'm kind of concerned. My concern is what it looks like as far as like the humor. Like it just feels weird to watch when Hellboy's doing a lot of jokes. It's like I don't know why I signed up for watching Deadpool. And while I love Deadpool, this is not what I'm looking.
I think dead people.
Dead people. Yes, Mike. Tell me what dead people say.
I was gonna say Deadpool. I think Deadpool did make a difference.
Oh, I totally
like since Deadpool's success, I think a lot of films are starting to borrow from that.
Right.
And I feel it. What was it? There was something else that I saw recently that was very, very Deadpoolish.
There's was it the
Once Upon a Deadpool? No,
that was it. But I think that humor is kind of carrying over into a lot of different films, especially comic book films.
Yeah,
they're trying to.
Spider-Man. Was definitely heavily Deadpool.
Yeah.
So I think when you guys mentioned it, and I was definitely thinking that while watching the movie. Also, Teen Titans Go, the movie, was also very heavily influenced by Deadpool. But this one definitely seems like it's a very Deadpool-esque thing. My only issue is, so Hellboy's a great character. My only issue is that the era of Del Toro was the era of great villains. And I would say that you could not have Killmonger from Black Panther without having the villain in Hellboy 2. So, because like you really understood why the villain was doing the bad things in Hellboy 2.
Okay.
Killmonger makes sense. because of that. And so I think that Hellboy is really going to rely on Mila Jovovich's acting abilities as a villain in the story. So you really need a good, solid villain for this.
Yeah, I was happy to see Mila Jovovich. Yeah. I haven't seen her. It's been a while
since Resident Evil.
Since Resident Evil, yes.
Last year.
You purposely avoided all the Resident Evils. The first one,
which again they're rebooting that too. So
yeah. Okay.
No, we went into making more horror.
Yeah, are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
then I'm on board. Then.
Yeah.
So.
We're happy for Men in Black International trailer. We're so on Hellboy trailer.
Yes,
I'm looking forward to it. You guys may be so.
No, I'm looking forward. Okay, so we're
split.
more than so.
We're split.
We're split.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with M. Night Shyamalan Split.
Yes.
And we'd be remiss if we didn't also mention that unfortunately this past week a really talented director, Penny Marshall, passed away. She directed very prominent films, as A League of Their Own, which is a great film. Big, which is a classic.
Total classic.
Awakenings, which is a really, really great film. Also, even though I thought this film is funny, Jumpin' Jack Flash with Whoopi Goldberg.
I remember that one.
Renaissance Man,
which is a great movie with Dan DeVito. And Riding in Cars with Boys, which got a lot of slack back in 2001.
That's right. I remember that.
Awakenings with Robert De Niro.
Awakenings.
Yeah. I mentioned Awakenings.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I wasn't listening to you.
Mike is
clearly you never listened to me. And she was working on the documentary or directing the documentary of Dennis Rodman called Rodman, which is supposed to come out next year. It's unfortunate that she passed away. I think complications due to diabetes.
Yeah.
She was
79, right? Something like that. She was pretty old.
That's that's.
I mean,
it's not that old.
Well, but it's a life well lived, and I think for her, especially like the doors and the glass she shattered along the way, because like realistically, like we looked at her IMDb, and I remember as soon as we started talking about it, I was like, oh crap, she's really influenced my childhood. Like this is a woman who has been directing a lot of great movies, who has acted in a lot of great films, and like if you don't recognize her, just Google her and you'll see a picture of her and you'll be like, oh yeah, I know that person.
Yeah, she originally was from Happy Days, and then who spin off to Laverne and Shirley.
Yeah, but also she's done a lot of like cameos in movies because she's like that one, like she's a character actor you see in movies but you don't remember the person's name. So as soon as you see her, you're like, oh, I know her. And on top of that, when you look at the body of work that she's done, it's amazing. Like for me, like Tom Hanks era of comedy was my childhood. So Big was definitely on repeat when I was a child. And A League of Their Own, there's no crying in baseball, right? Like that line still is part of the lexicon. Like I still use that whenever someone's crying, and I'm just like, are you crying? There's no crying in baseball. Like that entire line is just fantastic. So like the things that she did was amazing, and she lived a great life, and I think we should celebrate that. And even at that, be happy to watch Rodman. I feel like I want to definitely see that now.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, she was definitely a pioneer, and when women weren't selected so much to be director, she was one of the first ones to be up there. And her career speaks for itself. She will always be remembered for her great work.
Totally.
Yeah. Thank you. Rest in peace, Penny.
Yes.
So on that note, we're going to go ahead and review the next film, which is Bumblebee.
Movie menu.
Okay, so the first film we're reviewing is Bumblebee.
Did you just see that I got that wrong?
Yes.
All right, I'll do this part. I fixed it. Bumblebee, directed by Travis Knight, written by Christina Hodson, and here's the plot. On the run in the year of 1987, Bumblebee finds refuge in a junkyard in a small California beach town. Charlie, on the cusp of turning 18 and trying to find her place in the world, discovers Bumblebee, battle-scarred and broken.
So Z, I'm tossing the hosting news to you because you have not seen this film.
I have not actually seen. Sorry, I just took it from you because I made a mistake on the notes.
Z just stole it. So.
It was like a fumble, and I just picked it up.
That's exactly
all
what
right.
happened.
So starring Haley Steinfeld, Jorge Lindeborg Jr., and John Cena. Was there anybody else I should mention in this? From the trailer, that's what it looked like.
There was there was a gentleman memo.
Okay, well
he already mentioned
it. He did? Okay.
Yeah, we'll pick it up when we get there. But so these
are the second of the three names that Z mentioned.
So Jorge
Yes, that's memo.
All right, so depending on your spoiler-free review, I'll decide this movie's worth a dine in, watch it in theaters, a takeout, watch it at home, or a leftovers. Torture yourself by watching Transformers.
All of them?
All of them. They currently have them on iTunes on discount, and I was tempted to torture myself. All right. Now, nobody's going to earn any points here, but the person who does earn points can then donate these points over to a guest. So, again, depending on which one of you guys wins this one, whoever sways me will get the point, and you will be able to donate that point away. So with that being said, let us rate this film. Mike.
I'm surprisingly gonna go with the dine-in.
Yeah?
Surprisingly to myself, because I had very low expectations for this film.
It's really funny because I kept hearing like positive reviews coming from this movie, and that's not shocking at this point, but at the same time I'm shocked. Dan?
Be prepared to be shocked. It's a dine-in.
Are you saying not just kidding?
It's a dine-in for sure.
Okay.
Now, so the writer of this is Christina Hudson.
Yes.
Which she's wrote these smaller films, and after this treatment for Bumblebee, which I feel like it was a smart thing for her to write this film, she's now moving on to work on Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, and she's also doing the screenplay for Batgirl. And I feel like the way that Christina Hudson wrote Charlie, Haley Steinfeld's character, and overall plot of the film, I felt like it was so well done.
Yeah,
like this movie has like basically no Bayisms in it.
I was just gonna. Okay, so
it's like the characters are respected and they have fleshed out characters.
Yeah, I agree with them.
You mean they're not sexual objects?
Right? No, they're not. And
there's no under the skirt shots.
Even smaller characters like John Cena's character still has a nice little arc that you enjoy following as well. So I thought it was really well done.
And even how I guess you can say love interest, but it isn't really love interest. But
between John Cena and
no.
I was gonna say that's a Bayism. Yeah. That right there is a Bayism.
Total Bayism.
So there is another character that it is there. I agree with Dan. There isn't any Bayisms. Even the action sequences, they're very well done.
You know what's funny is I watched a trailer and I saw that the camera was fixed, showing the action.
It looked great,
and I was like, "That's not a Bayism."
I was impressed with just. I thought it was super fun to see the animated action sequences. There isn't just like unnecessary slow motion with the typical slow motion sound effects like There isn't a lot of that going on. There's like it almost felt like the way action sequences are
meant to be. Yeah,
was that
are meant to be?
Yeah, or just like the way they are in like a martial arts film. Like it looks like there's an actual fight sequence. But aside from that, even the way the love interest was treated in this isn't really a forced love interest story. I like how, without ruining too much of it, I would say that it's handled very well.
You're not ruining anything. That's exactly what you should be saying. Okay, so the action is good. Tell me about the story. What's the story like here?
So it continues off after like Edge of 17. So.
Actually, I would agree with that.
Okay, so Haley Steinfeld actually came out.
So this is now Edge of 18.
Yeah, Edge of 18.
Wow. Okay, so the Edge of 17 was a movie that Haley Steinfeld had done with
the sequel to that.
Oh, okay. So she wants to die. Is that the
kind of in the beginning?
Yeah, in the beginning. So this miserable teenager who's recently experienced a loss of one of her parents, and she's struggling to. She's just dealing with that, and she feels like the rest of her family has kind of moved on from it, and she's kind of, I guess, for lack of a better term, she's treated as like the black sheep of the family, and she's kind of isolated and continuing and still hurting, still in pain, still trying to figure out how to overcome this. And she really wants a car to just. She wants a car. She's also a mechanic, and her father had passed, and that was actually how she bonded with her father.
Was working on cars,
yeah. And then she gets this isn't giving anything away. You see it in the trailer.
Yeah.
Her uncle who works at a...
I don't think it was her real uncle. I think that's the name that everyone calls him, Uncle Hank.
Maybe. I don't know. There's no like... Yeah, she calls him uncle, but who knows? I don't know.
Did he not look like he was part of her family?
No.
He's like in his 80s.
Well, I don't know. He could have been... Maybe. I don't know. Whatever.
Mike's calling you an ageist, dude. You're like you never know. The dad could have been in his 70s.
Yeah. I was like, whatever. Maybe he's an uncle. I don't know.
He might have been an uncle.
Yeah, maybe. So he gives her a car. Yeah. Well, and the car ends up being Bumblebee, as you also see in the trailer.
Yeah.
And the rest of the film is just the bonding between the two of them and their friendship. So it's basically like a mixture of like Iron Giant and there's a scene in the film where Haley Steinfeld's wearing a jacket that says BFG on it, which I thought was an interesting reference. Okay. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's a mixture of... It's a mixture of films like that in this movie.
Well, yeah, and it's based in the 80s, right? So it gives it a lot of room to like play with that.
Yeah, so you got a very interesting period piece.
Yeah.
So and it's very... I think it fits nicely.
It's very 80s.
It's
in the best possible way.
Yeah. And I think it's like right along with kind of what's popular at this time, considering like Stranger Things.
Got it.
And so there's there's also like typical 80s bullies.
Oh yeah.
In this film, which is kind of fun to see as well.
It's like very stereotypical, but it's expected to be in an 80s film.
Got it. Tell me about Jorge Lindenberg. He plays Memo in the story. Like what about his character? You guys said that he was handled really well.
So this character is infatuated with Haley Steinfeld's character, and
like
he's
a stalker? That's a Bayism there.
He kind of...
Well, but he's like a nerdy kid who like lives next door to her. He works next door to her.
Yeah.
And every time
that is kind of stalkerish.
but every time he tries to go talk to her like respectfully, and she ignores him because there's always something to do with Bumblebee or something. So we know in the trailer that he finds out about Bumblebee. So he finds out about Bumblebee, and then that's when their friendship develops.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, we covered. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the directing. This is directed by
Travis Knight, who did Kubo and the Two Strings.
Yes.
Which I absolutely love because that he knows how to do stop motion. He knows how to control action, as you were saying. Yeah. Do you guys feel like the directing in this, because it's no longer a Bay film? When we call it Michael Bayisms, for the people who are listening to us talking about it, when we say Bayisms, we're talking about Michael Bay's style of directing, which means that the camera is
it's an actual term. Look it up, Bayism.
Bayism, there's a solid video that explains what Bayisms are. And I forget, there was other movies, there's other directors who are influenced by Bayisms.
Well, like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That's right. Yeah.
That's like a Bayism influenced film.
So did this film feel Bayistic at all?
Not at all.
No.
So this was very like
it's like a nice soft reboot of the franchise almost.
Yeah.
And I feel like if they continued this way, even though this movie is unfortunately a product of the past film, so it's not getting as much love as it should be.
Right.
Yeah.
Financial wise, but I feel like if they continue down this road, I feel like all the people who hated on it will eventually come back, because I also felt like, as a fan of the Transformers cartoons, especially in the opening scene, which it takes place at Cybertron, it's great. Yeah. It's fantastic. It's such a cool sequence of it.
Okay,
it's so cool to see all
of them, all the Transformers. Oh my god, my head exploded a little bit.
And Optimus Prime just like
with his gun.
Yeah,
that as a kid you would play and have. It's so cool.
Yeah, there's just a super cool action sequence with Optimus Prime.
Okay,
and it's like just that alone, I was already bought into it. And I think for a movie in the Transformers franchise, it's a super focused film, unexpectedly, because it feels very
it's like E.T. or Iron Giant. It's very
exactly.
They say it's like the boy and his dog.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's the girl and the dog, but this is also like an alien film.
Yeah.
It's so much like an alien film as well.
It is.
Wow.
It totally is. It does have that same. I think
those tropes.
Yeah, I think E.T. I I would say like. Okay, I would say that it follows that archetype of not trope, because I don't think it was necessarily a negative thing for them to follow like the plot points that they did, and even when I feel like something was expected or a little cliche, I didn't mind. Yeah. I felt like it was very evenly paced for a film coming from the Transformers franchise, which is like always rare.
Yeah, which is all of them have always been like over 2 hours. 2.5 hours.
Yeah, how long was this movie?
About 2 hours.
2 hours. Okay. Yeah, and I not once during the film did I feel like all right, come on, all right, come on, get this over with already.
1:54.
Or did I feel like I was gonna nod off like during an action sequence, which I would have in the previous Transformers
films. You tune off really easily.
Yeah. So in this one, it was very.
And there was no unnecessary marketing or advertising that was.
I was gonna ask that next. Okay, so there's.
Maybe
one. Just one. Hot dog on the stick.
Yeah, hot dog on the stick is the only one.
But that's because that's where the go works.
Got it. Okay, yeah, because I remember the Michael Bay. Every Transformers. If you're
there's no stupid drinking beer from the floor. And
right. Yeah. Or there's no Bose marketing in the movie itself, which is like part of like part 5 or 6. I forget which one.
And there's no weird like in the previous films there are these weird like racist like robot stereotypes.
Yeah, there was. Yeah,
and in this film there was none of that either.
Okay.
And I felt like it was probably the truest form of the original Transformers.
Yes, I agree.
It was super respectful to that. It just worked. Everything fell into place properly.
Did you feel like there was like any taglines? A lot of the Michael Bay films had like a lot of taglines, a lot of like stupid little one-liners that just were like "get it" or "this I'm doing this."
No,
none of that.
There wasn't.
No, because even the Decepticons were fun to watch.
And but even just like I think the one smart thing they did was they also revealed how Bumblebee loses his voice. So in the previous Transformers films, like it's kind of like a cliche thing and here it shows why that's a necessity and why that happens, and I thought that was really cool.
Okay. Is anybody talking to us?
We had a couple comments previously from Alexis Gaines. Hey, Alexis.
Hey, how's it going, Alexis?
She says she's looking forward to MIB. She's sad that Penny Marshall died, and she said, "Awesome, go watch it for Bumblebee."
Bumblebee, yeah.
Surprisingly. To no shock or replay of the same fight scenes. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm ready to give my final verdict. I know we have a long show, so let's go with it. Any final words?
Go watch it in 3D, or if it's near you, 4D, or 4D as a second showing. 3D as a first showing.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, it's totally worth the watch. I feel like they have really brought it back to where it should be, away from Michael Bay.
Yeah,
even though it's produced by Michael Bay,
it is.
But
it's also produced by Steven Spielberg.
And it always was.
Yeah. But I feel like Travis Knight and Christina Hodson really found their voice and the way that these Transformers. To really be liked. Even the people are likable. Most of the Transformers film, people are like, it gets people out of there. But no, everyone in this film, I felt like was well done.
Yeah.
One quick thing. Sure. Both Transformers and people die in this.
Oh, good.
Oh, yeah. The way they cover,
that's good. They die.
So that it actually like feels like there's like some...
And there are some meta moments in this film, too. Like, there's a line from John Cena, which I thought was funny. He was like, these people call themselves the Decepticons. Are you going to believe somebody who calls themselves Decepticons?
That's good.
I thought that was funny.
That's really good, yeah.
So there's good humor. There's drama because of the, like Mike mentioned, Haley Steinfeld's character's father passed away. So there's moments.
1 second, people.
There we go.
We're back.
Yes.
So there's a nice balance there, and then there's also great action as well. So I feel like this movie is well rounded and really worth to watch.
Okay,
absolutely.
I've got my verdict. I'm really sad that I didn't go watch this. Now, it's funny because I do have the A+, the Stubbs card, and AMC does offer 4DX now.
Yes,
they call it Prime.
They have 4DX.
AMC Prime. So I was actually I was gonna go watch it last night, but I was like, I'm not feeling well. I just stayed in, so I didn't watch it. And now I'm really bumbled, beat out that I didn't get to watch this. This sounds like a really fun movie, and Haley Steinfeld. is phenomenal. I've enjoyed just about everything. She was in last week's episode too. She did the voice for Gwen Stacy.
I forgot to mention that.
Yeah. So it's like she has been on a roll. Yeah. I mean, since 2 years ago when she did True Grit.
She also did Pitch Perfect 2.
She did Pitch Perfect 2. She's done, Edge of 17. Yes. Like, I'm just willing to watch what she does as long as Michael Bay is not involved.
I agree.
Yeah. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to toss the hosting duties back to Dan, which I stole earlier on.
I'm sitting in the back.
There you go.
Okay, on that note, let's go ahead and head to the next movie review.
There we go.
Movie menu. So the next movie we're reviewing is Mary Poppins Returns. Directed by Rob Marshall, based on the characters by P.L. Travers. Written by David McGee, Rob Marshall, and John DeLuca. Here's the plot. Decades after her original visit, the magical nanny returns to help the Banks siblings and Michael's children through a difficult time in their lives. Starring Emily Blunt, Lin-Manuel Miranda, Ben Whishaw, Emily Mortimer, Pixie Davis, Nathaniel Sale, and Joel Dawson. Alright guys, so I'm going to toss the rest to Mike.
Yeah. There you go.
Because Mike didn't see this film. So, actually, Mike, you would decide this movie's worth the dine and watch it in theaters. Take a watch. We didn't watch it at home or leftovers. We fly away forever. Never be seen on an umbrella.
With an umbrella. Okay.
Oh, with an umbrella. Yeah.
I'm hoping.
Or an arrow if you want to go with the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 reference.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
That'd have been great if I can't remember the name of that character.
Yeah,
if Mary Poppins is going down and she's like, "I'm Yondu, y'all."
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. For those that could create memes, get to it.
Yeah, I've already seen them online. They're really funny.
Okay.
So Mike.
Okay, thank you for handing the hosting duties.
The hoarding?
I'm having trouble. The hoarding duties.
I heard hooding. Like I was like, oh, we're graduating.
Ooh, now you got to turn the tassel to the other side and throw your hats in the air.
Exactly.
So, all right. So, how do you rate this film, Z?
So this was a weird movie for me to watch. One, I did fall asleep.
It's a musical.
It is a musical. I did fall asleep because of the musical.
Okay. Did you fall asleep? At one point in the film did you fall asleep?
I drifted off probably like halfway through the movie.
Okay.
But here's the thing. Okay, so one, I do love Mary Poppins. I do believe the original was a work of art. However, it's a work of art that was made for its time. So I remember watching it as a kid and just simply being like, yeah, this is great, but we've got better working CGI at this point. So it's definitely a throwback. So if people are big fans of the original, they're going to love this one. Also, I'm not the audience for this film, so I recognize that right off the bat. I was like, yeah, I'm not a child, and I'm not into musicals. And there was a kid in my theater. There was only one. There was a very I watched during preview night, so there was nobody really there. But there was one kid, and that kid was totally into it and enjoying it.
Okay.
So I would say that if you have a family and you are a huge fan of the originals, go watch this film in theaters. But if you're not, then you can just simply watch it at home. And I think
it. So take out for you.
Take out for me. Okay. I mean, not because it's a bad movie. It's just because I'm just not into it.
And it was a bad movie. All right, Dan, go ahead. Well, how do you rate this film?
Z, you're completely wrong.
I know. I'm aware.
It is a dine-in.
But hold on. But let's be very clear for you, right? You really love musicals.
So no. But that's even besides the point. Okay. I feel like very similar to Bumblebee. This film also tackles something really serious.
It does.
There's a loss of a wife and a mother.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So where Bumblebee is the loss of the father, this film covers the loss of a mother.
Yes.
Okay.
And this film does it so not. They don't water down it. They don't make it.
The themes in this movie are
very adult.
Very adult. Yes.
And I feel like they covered. I mean, the way they did it was very well. And yes, it's a musical, which for me was great. I thought they did a great job. Emily Blunt and Lin-Manuel Miranda is great.
Lin-Manuel is amazing.
They have even the style. Like I'm not sure if Lin did the music, but I feel like he had influence. If he didn't do the music
he definitely
himself,
influenced a lot of it. Yeah.
He had So that alone was great. So if you like Hamilton or like the Hamilton style, this film it's not just for me. It wasn't just a boring musical because they have like different numbers in there. That's for everyone.
Yeah.
And I thought the story was great. Like not good, not okay. It was great.
See,
a great continuation.
And I think I'm not.
It's delightful. It's a very delightful film.
I'm
the
not
whole time it was just really like, wow, this is so like. Even though there's very somber moments in there, that unless you have, if you've experienced a loss of a parent. Then you will feel like it really tugs at the heartstrings, but not like intentionally, just by the experience that you're watching them experience. It's very emotional and very well done.
Yeah, it didn't feel like a Spielberg movie in the sense that like Spielberg does a really good job of pulling the heartstrings. This movie does it in a way that like it walks you to that moment. I think there's one song in particular where the things go when they get lost. Like that's a brilliant song, and it's a song. It's a movie about really deep subject matter. And again, I'm not arguing with Dan at all. Like, you can get the point. I'll give you the point. That's totally fine. Because I personally just didn't get into the music. And because of that, because the majority of the movie was music, I just couldn't really get into it. But the topics that it's covering, and I was really shocked by how dark the movie was.
Interesting.
Like there was a lot of dark moments.
There's a moment in there that reminds me of like Pinocchio or the old school Snow White, where those scary moments as in cartoons. There was a very similar moment in this film. When they're on I'm just gonna say when they're on the train, but that's all I'll say.
They're not on the train, they're on a trolley.
Trolley.
But and so I definitely was like, I didn't expect this. So there are like these really uniquely dark moments that speak to our times. I think that without spoiling anything, there are moments where it's like it's a good reflection of present, but being told in this story like in the way that it is. But then it ties it really completely to the humanity in all of us, which is the loss of a parent, and more importantly, the way that children deal with that versus the way that the direct husband in this deals with it. And there's also like some sentiment about like what happened to the Banks' families, and also there's like a whole bunch of reflection on the original, because this is
a sequel.
This is a sequel. This is the Banks kids. And so there's a lot of really fun moments. And for me, the part that really kind of drove me, because I'm more of a Harry Potter fan than anything else, was just how much it really played up the fact that Mary Poppins might just be a wizard. There was a lot of moments where I was like, this
from
is
Hogwarts.
Yes, totally.
This is totally like,
Did you get that?
Diagon Alley. I was like, that's where she went.
Yeah, she went to Diagon Alley. She was like pulling things out of her purse that had no method of being there. And I was like, that's the one from Fantastic Beasts. So there's a lot of moments where like it's really fun.
I do
too. Do you think Mary Poppins would have been a better side plot to Harry Potter rather than Fantastic Beasts?
I think they knew the director and the writers knew what the theory was, and they played it up a little bit, and in a good way, because I really did feel like they
had fun with it.
Yeah, totally. And also the other part that I really enjoyed was just the way that they played with imagination, because the kids could see what Mary Poppins can do, which was what the original movie was all about. But then the way that they played on how adults lose their imagination as they become adults, and I really enjoyed that. I thought there were some really great sentiments. And
it's really like Hook,
got you.
And that's in that sense, whereas like the kids are with the imagination, and the parents forget how to use it as they get older, because society, work, all this stuff. So I really, that was my next thing I was gonna bring up, was that, because I felt like they tackled that really well. And I was like, oh, it's depressing to be an adult.
Well, you got to work for a jerk, and you have to pay the bills, and there's like there's so many things that speak to adults. So again, if you're a fan of the original and you're watching this, it really plays on the fact that the audience are two audiences. One is you're a child, and you really want to see what the imagination shows you, and then two, the fans who love the original and just explaining to you what it is to be an adult through the eyes of Mary Poppins. So I just think that this movie is, again, it's not for me, but that's not saying it's a bad movie.
So where did it lose you, Z? That's what I'm curious
songs.
about.
I think the songs were like, again, very, very like 1950s style songs. And again, that's a credit to the writing of the songs. And for me, I just couldn't really get into the singing because I'm not into musicals, and that's about me. So if I'm being honest, this is a takeout for me because I'm not the audience. But for Dan, it is the audience, and so then he gets to dine in, and that's totally fine.
So were there any musicals recently that you've seen that you enjoyed, Z? Such as like La La Land, or
I hated La La Land. I gave it a takeout. Yeah, I think that's just not my my film. That's not my niche. And again, I have to reflect only on the fact that I'm being honest to who I am. I could say this movie's a dine-in, but realistically, it's not a dine-in for me.
That's fair.
You know, and again, right, there are singing penguins in this movie. Again, I kind of tuned out on that point. I fell asleep during that point because I was like, cool, dancing. I couldn't hold your attention. I couldn't hold my attention because, again, that's not me.
Okay. How did you feel like the music was dated, Dan?
No, because they brought Lin-Manuel Miranda. I felt like he did something with the music.
He did. Yeah. Oh, he totally did. No, he totally did. And there was a moment in which he's actually doing like a hip-hop thing, again, using the old Dick Van Dyke style of singing, and it fits really well. There's also that subplot. There's a love story subplot with Jack, which I didn't actually like at all. Like, that's the one part where I was like, that just seems a little lame. Okay. It just seemed a little like lazy writing. Like, it just seemed very simple and just didn't work for me. But again, right, like, I think Lin-Manuel is a great actor. I think that Ben Whishaw is a fantastic, phenomenal actor. The way that he played the role of Michael Banks was like multi-layered, and I really felt, again, I think Dan, we were talking just about like how like that song that he sings is just so heartfelt, and because the actor is so good, you can really see the torment of like what it is to lose your wife. Yeah. And I felt for that. I really was like, that's heart-wrenching. That sucks. And then having like, there's a moment where it's like, well, my wife was the one who took care of the bills, and you're like, oh shoot, man, that sucks, because now you have to pick up all the pieces on top of being a dad. Emily Mortimer's character.
Also, though, the kids, though, the Banks children, there's two. There's the twins who are older, and then there's Georgie, who's the youngest.
Georgie.
And the twins, which is Annabelle and John. They're great because they act like they're the adults. So they lost their mother, they grew up really fast.
They're adultified,
and they're taking care of their father. So they're like not kids anymore. So when Mary Poppins first comes in, you know, Georgie, who's the youngest, is the only one that believes and sees it, and the kids who are kids don't, because they had to grow up.
They've been adultified. Quick.
Yeah, they've been adultified. So it was great for them to see like their regression back into kids, and not have to worry about so much, because these, you know, what happened to them, and the whole story is that they're at risk of losing their house.
Oh, okay. So I was just about to ask, like, what's the plot?
The plot is that they're about to lose their house because they
borrowed a loan.
They borrowed a loan. The wife died. They couldn't pay back the bills in time, and so the bank is trying to take away the home.
I see.
So again, it's a very dark theme, because you know how many people in the United States currently have lost their homes. So it really does touch on a very sensitive topic, but it does it in a way that like just makes you feel good about the way that the story goes on. It is a feel-good movie. I did walk away from this movie feeling good. So that's
probably because he had a good nap.
That's probably true.
And there is a villain as well, which is similar to the first film.
Who is the villain in the first? It's been so long. Who is the villain in the first film?
The Banks.
The Banks. Oh, it was the same. Similar. So in this, it was basically like a representative from the bank that's also the villain in this.
Yeah, and there was nice cameos in this film as well. Like there's Dick Van. That's it.
Well, you just said it.
Well, he's in. He's. I saw a feature of him in it.
Oh, I see.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he's in there.
Is there also a mixture of like animation?
Yes,
totally.
Yeah, and not 3D as like the regular like cartoon animation.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit style?
Yeah. Kind of, yeah. Okay. There's a whole sequence in the animation that's the part that I was talking about, that it was reminding me of Snow White or Pinocchio when it was scary.
Yeah.
So it's the animation style that's like back in the day,
right?
Where it's like you wouldn't see it now so much, but it was okay back then to draw crazy characters and stuff. It's
okay.
I don't want to explain it too much, but
okay. All right, I think
there's also really good practical sets. That's one part that I took away from it, going like, oh wow, they really built that. Like
they really built that.
And no, but I mean, like the way that they use the colors. There were not my movie, but there were things in the movie that I was appreciating, because it was like really well done.
All right,
great stage. I mean, I would imagine it's going to get an Oscar for stage design, because there's some beautiful sets on this.
Production design.
I could see this movie being on a stage play. Because there were some moments where it was practical sets. They were not CGI at all, and they were amazing to look at.
All right, how was Emily Blunt?
Oh, she's
fantastic,
phenomenal.
She is great.
Yeah,
in this. Her and Ben Whishaw and Lin-Manuel Miranda are are incredible in this film.
Yeah.
Even but also the kids are great.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't think It's arguable to say that Emily Blunt is not playing Julie Andrews. She is playing a completely different character. She is Mary Poppins, but she is definitely not the Julie Andrews version of Mary Poppins.
Got it.
She's more. What's the word hard,
direct,
okay.
definitely more
it's like
direct,
a tougher,
like a tougher,
interesting,
like a Mary Poppins for her times.
She has like a machine gun,
she's been locked up for the past 50 years, and now she got released. And then she's like, maybe she was in Azkaban.
Yeah, maybe. Damn, no, she wasn't gone for that long, right? She was gone for like 20
years. 20 years,
yeah. She probably. Or maybe she was teaching at Hogsworth and was done with all the kids' shit.
Maybe that sounds about right.
That sounds more accurate.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think I've heard enough. Any last words?
Go watch it. It's great. It's really like the word that I said afterwards was delightful. It's a delightful film.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Z?
And for me, if it's a film that is up your alley and you're willing to spend time with the Banks family, then go watch it in theaters. But if you're not, like if you're like me, who's not really a huge fan of them, you can also just wait and watch it at home.
Okay. I would like. I guess I feel similar to you, Z, where I do struggle to sit through musicals.
Yeah.
And this would have been a takeout, but as soon as Dan mentioned that there was a mixture of animation, that kind of brings it up to dine-in for me.
Totally fine.
Yeah. So Dan gets the point for
totally
this one.
Fine. Yeah, absolutely.
Take that.
Handing the hosting duties back to you, Dan. So
thank you, Mike. So we still have one more film to review.
Yeah, we do.
So let's go ahead and go there. Movie menu. So the final film we're reviewing for this episode will be Aquaman. Directed by James Wan, written by David Leslie, Johnson McGordwick, and Will Beall. Here's the plot. Arthur Curry learns that he is the heir to the underwater kingdom of Atlantis and must step forward to lead his people and be a hero to the world. Starring Jason Momoa, Amber Heard, William Dafoe, and Patrick Wilson. Alright guys, depending on your spoiler-free review, I don't think we heard all this already. Well, no, watch it depending on your spoiler-free review, we will decide this movie is worth a dine-in, watch it in theaters, wait and watch it at home, or leftovers.
Jump in the sea and sing
and
to
drown. Jump in the
Watch
sea
The
and
Little
drown.
Mermaid.
No, jump in the sea and drown.
Yeah.
Because you can't breathe underwater because we're not Aquaman.
Under the sea.
Ding, 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 ding.
So, rate this film, Mike.
You know what? I'm gonna say a dine-in.
Okay,
just gonna do it.
I'm glad you went first. I'm gonna go with it. Oh, so do you have anything else to say? Dine-in?
I would say. Well, I would say soft dine-in, but a dine-in.
Yeah.
Still.
I will. You know what? Yeah, it's a soft dine-in. Not because honestly, it would be a takeout for me. But
then just go takeout.
Yeah, I'm gonna go takeout.
Okay,
I'll go with takeout.
Do whatever you want.
Yeah, I'll go with takeout. This
Dan doesn't want you to have the point. That's
okay. So let me explain. So
I'm gonna go leftovers.
So
yeah.
No.
You watched it too, didn't you?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with takeout because honestly, this film does nothing. You literally can watch the beginning and the ending and be like, cool. Because there is literally no growth. There's no character growth. The villains in the story are absolutely atrociously miscast, and there's no real reason why they're villains. They're just they're literally like mustache twirling villains. And I think Aquaman, while Jason Momoa did the best he could, and boy did I enjoy spending time with him and Mira. I honestly can say from point A to point B, he did not grow at all as a person, and so because of that. There's no real good movie here. There's also like this huge sequence of underground.
Can I rate now?
Go for it.
Sorry. Hold on. Can I give a rating?
Yeah, go for it.
No. Yeah, go ahead.
I was like, wow, are we starting the review already?
I'm sorry. There's just so many thoughts in my mind about this movie that I couldn't get. Yeah, go for it. What's your rating?
Dine-in. Okay. But soft dine-in as well.
I like how Dan egged you on to do a takeout.
Yeah.
And then he's like, of course.
A takeout. That's it.
Yeah. But I was explaining myself. So, yeah. Well, okay. So let's talk about Aquaman.
Okay, well, first, I think Aquaman does have a story arc.
Really?
As silly
Really?
as it is.
And I feel like the villains do have a reasoning because we're fucking it up for them.
I mean, Black Manta. Okay. I agree that
Black Manta.
I think he, like
literally walks in on
no,
screen.
he has a reason why. But,
he does.
But I mean, that character was kind of.
And it's very
lame. It was lame. There's no growth.
It was very like sloppily set up, and I think it was very, very forced. Like this is why he hates him in 1 minute.
Yeah,
and then
it's not a spoiler, by the way. I believe that's in the comics.
Well, it's still for people who don't watch don't read the comics.
Fine, okay.
It looks cool, and the
movie looks great,
and the fight sequences between Black Manta and Aquaman are also pretty cool.
Fantastic,
and I think
there are a lot of positives in the movie.
Yeah, and I think the fight sequences in general are just really fun to watch. Yeah. Even with like a Nicole Kidman's character. I was like, wow.
Well,
okay,
yeah, and I mean, but also, like, I think the real key thing is that Jason Momoa is just an awesome guy to want to hang out with. Like, there's a moment in the trailer, I believe it's in the trailer, but there's a moment where these guys go up to Aquaman and they go like, "Are you that fish boy?" And he stands up, he's like, "You mean fish man?"
So
and they want to like hang out with him, and that entire sequence, I was like, man, I want to drink with Jason Momoa. I want to drink with Aquaman.
My biggest problem with this film, and it's not usually a problem I have with films because I enjoy this, but this movie is just cheesy as fuck.
It is,
and it's to the point where it's like eye rolling cheesy.
Yes,
that's not good. and there, because there are some cheesy moments that are fun. They're like laughable.
The love scenes are like super forced.
But they're fun. I really enjoyed them.
I guess
it was a rom-com. I really enjoyed
it. There's moments where like you shouldn't be laughing, but you're laughing. Like when they're training and they show like Willem Dafoe and the young Jason Momoa. The actor who's playing
when they're swimming or what?
No. When they're like when he's has the trident and he's spinning it.
Oh
yeah. So when they're fighting, it just looks like it does a single shot and them in the middle, and the background looks so fake. Yeah, it looks like it's really CG, and it looks very distorted, and it looks like a room, like the room. And I couldn't stop laughing. There were moments like that.
I can't train. This is bullshit. Smashes a can on the dirt, on the sand.
So there were moments like that, but I feel like it makes up for the action. I really liked how, even though they have no real chemistry, I guess.
I thought there was chemistry there.
I mean, yeah, there is. I did like how Mara's used. I like her powers, and I like. I thought Aquaman.
Cool. They were all handled way better than they were in Justice League.
In Justice League, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so
step up.
Yeah, it's definitely a step up. Okay,
and I liked the style of directing that James Bond did with the action when he would just go from above. Like it'll follow them, and then it'll go above shots, so we can see as a one take type of action. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay, so all of that I agree with. Again, I'm only giving it a take out because if I'm being honest, this is not a good movie. Because I did.
Wait, you agree, but it's not a good movie?
I kind of feel like
it's a love-hate movie.
Yes, I feel like this is like a less funny version of Cabin Boy. I don't know if I'm the only one.
That's unfair to say. No.
No, it's totally fair because it's a sea adventure.
Yeah,
film.
no, I understand.
And they're traveling.
My pipes are clean. I know, I get it.
And they're traveling to different worlds, meeting different characters. And I think that's more of what this film is about. And I think if you just kind of sit back and enjoy it for what it is, you'll have a good time.
I agree with that.
And there are a lot of different worlds, and there's one specific. I say different worlds, but I mean there's like different sea kingdoms, I guess you can say. Yes. And each kingdom has its own like. It has its own characteristics, very similar to like Lord of the Rings ish. I wouldn't say it's definitely not like as to the caliber of Lord of the Rings, but I think each world has its own unique features, and there's even a moment where it kind of like goes like horror.
It does. Which was James Wan. I was hoping for that, and it actually that was a great moment.
Super cool. And then there's also this creature that's almost like it felt like it was a kaiju.
No, it was a kaiju.
It was
inspired by Cthulhu. That was a James Wan thing.
I thought it was going to be the Kraken.
No. But it's definitely inspired by Cthulhu. I think James Wan's a huge fan.
It didn't look anything like Cthulhu.
So. No. I mean the tentacles.
The tentacles,
But yes, it definitely looked more like a kaiju from Pacific Rim.
That spoke.
Yeah.
So I thought that in itself was super cool.
Yeah,
and I'm sorry.
No. And again, I'm not disagreeing with you. Again, let me explain very quickly when I say that this is a love-hate film. This is a film you can love to hate, and because of that reason, I was in it. I was enjoying it, but I'm not going to say that it's a great film.
It's not.
It's a really dumb, cheesy film.
It's popcorn film all the way.
It's all the way, yeah. And if you're willing to take your brain out of your head and just enjoy the ride, you're totally going to enjoy it. But when you start asking questions such as, is this villain worth on screen? No, he is not, because they only explained to you in a 2 minute, and I timed it. There was like a 2-minute sequence in which Ocean Master, this is Aquaman's brother, played by half brother, which again, there's so many. Yeah, Patrick Wilson plays King Orm, and he explains how like humanity, the surface world, is trashing and poisoning the seas. To which I said, "Sign me up. You've got me on board." And then they don't do anything with it. At that point, they stopped talking about it. But if he kept on talking about that in the same way that, as we were talking about earlier, Hellboy 2. Hellboy 2's character, the villain, the king of elves in that one, is wants to destroy humanity because they keep destroying his forest and the life that they have. And you believe it, and there's a moment in the movie where Hellboy goes like, yeah, you're right. They're absolute assholes. And the Hellboy character changes to the point where, and spoiler here, he gives up being the champion for humanity. This had you could have done that with Aquaman, but instead you had a guy who like is an unwilling hero / king, and there was no growth. So the villain in the story had the ability to do all that, to change the character in a way that, in the same way that Black Panther, Killmonger changes Black Panther at the very end, and in this movie there was no growth. It was simply a popcorn film, and if you want that, this is your film. Great, no problems with that. But this movie is not a good film in any capacity.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there with that setup, but in the end it regresses to like typical villain, mustache twirly. Like I just want supreme power. I just want power.
I want to be Ocean Master. That's it.
Yeah. So if they would have stuck to that premise,
call me Ocean Master.
Yeah. If they would have stuck to that premise, it would have definitely been a stronger film.
Well, technically they couldn't, because a lot of the stuff that was poison in the sea got washed back up. So.
Yeah.
Oh, but I get that's a good point. They kind of like that whole
they fixed it. That
whole plot line is just
they just wanted to have them stop doing it.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But it's like you could still do a lot more with the characters.
Good point, Dan. They just like resolve that issue. I didn't think about that. It's resolved in the first 20 minutes. It's like, well, what do we do? Well, now I become Ocean Master.
Now they want to make sure it doesn't happen again. So now they want to destroy humanity or destroy the service level, I should say.
Yeah. Okay.
But what I enjoyed, or I guess maybe my qualms with it, was also I didn't mind Patrick Wilson's character at all, really. I just wish that I don't know.
What?
I feel like it was a little bit longer and
it was
paced.
2.5 hours long.
Yeah.
It was way too long. Yeah. That's another huge issue.
There was sure they try to make it like Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Totally.
I like how the introduction of Aquaman's parents, like how the father just accepts that the mother's Atlanta from Atlantis. He's like, oh, of course.
I mean, listen, like, I don't want to say anything. I don't want to say anything sexist, but it's probably because she's hot, and he definitely doesn't want to cause any arguments. That was literally all I got from it. Was like,
I guess, but I thought that was just like a very funny like setup. It's like my father met a crazy woman and then she was pregnant. that's basically the intro.
Yeah, that's it.
And it's just funny how like accepting the father is of like the craziness.
Yeah.
There's no doubts. Yes. There's no like I need you to prove this.
No skepticism whatsoever.
Yeah. And he's like, well, you're crazy, but I'll just go along.
It's like
because I'm lonely.
You ate a fish because I'm lonely.
That's pretty much what.
No, that's exactly it. No, I completely agree with that. But yeah, a 2.5 hour movie. And I had to pee the entire time.
Yeah,
that sucked. Yeah. It was really horrible.
It's hard to guess when I use the restroom.
But yeah, see, there's no questioning whether. And that sequence was like straight out of Splash. The Daryl Hannah.
I know. For a moment there, I thought she was gonna try to speak fish and not English. I'm like, oh God, please don't go mermaid.
That was clearly that. And again, the thing that really captured me, and again, I already mentioned this joke, is because there's a rom-com in this movie, and I actually did enjoy the chemistry between Jason Momoa and I forgot her name. Amber Heard. I was like, hey, she's basically Ariel, and she's like, what's this? Is this a flower? And then she eats the flower. Like, it's silly like that, and like in the sort of like Ariel thing, except for she's a badass Ariel. And I think, again, watching Jason Momoa,
well, I think also
be charming is great.
Well, speaking of that wish, Mara also hated the surface world, and it wasn't until that moment that she started to see the beauty in it.
Yes.
So I feel like there was
more growth for her. There was more growth for her than for anybody else.
Well, him accepting his role, because he even admits, he always comes off with this stuff. I don't want to give away what it is, but he admits to himself who he really is, and I feel like that is important.
Yeah, that is the arc.
So so I felt like there was. Is it a huge?
It was minimal.
Is it a huge? Yeah, is it a huge arc or change?
Really,
no, but you see, there wasn't one. I don't think it's fair to the film either.
I would argue that like he moved inches from where he was at.
But he moved.
Hey, inches. Some inches can help. On that note, Heather is live.
Hi,
Heather. She says, "Hi guys."
Hi.
She says, "I love watching Jason Momoa do anything."
Right, I agree. I agree. You watch.
I think it's for a different reason though than what you.
No, I'm agreeing with her on that entirely. Listen, he is a very charming, very muscular man. It's definitely something you want to watch. But is it Black Panther? No.
Well, no. This is like Black Panther super light.
Yeah. What do we call it? The post
Wet Thor.
Wet Thor. That's more accurate.
Thor. Yeah.
Yeah, and this movie is based off the King Arthur legend. So with that, you'll get a lot of it. Because there's a sword in the stone. There's a whole thing going on there.
We haven't mentioned Dolph Lundgren is in this.
Also,
as well.
Dolph.
Well, I was happy to see him in it. He has a smaller role.
Actually, and he did Creed 2, and he's in this one.
Yeah, I'm happy to see his.
Maybe there's a London Renaissance, or I don't know, Renaissance.
Sure, I'm on board. Sure.
That's so bad. Willem Dafoe is also in this movie, and he tries his best. To like really be a serious actor in this film. Again, there's that moment.
What do you mean? He is a serious actor.
Okay,
he's great in Florida Project.
I agree, but this is not the Florida Project. There was a moment in the movie where he does the whole like twirling of the
that's what I was talking about. I'm laughing.
I know. But if you look, I couldn't stop looking at his hands.
Is he giggling while he's doing it?
No, but the entire time you could just see his hands, and he's just doing this over and over. He's just rotating his hands, and he's not touching anything. So there's literally him just standing in the beach.
Yeah.
He's like
you're gonna edit it in, right?
So there are definitely moments in this film that you're like, wow. I wonder if the actors are embarrassed.
And the special effects guys are like, don't worry, we got it.
Yeah. As they're laughing in the background. Because there's moments, you remember like Black Manta when he's like, I really have to put this on. Or like, there's moments, when the movie's not great, when you feel embarrassed for the actors having to do this.
No, when he says, "I guess I'm gonna need a bigger head," I was like, "Come on, man! Why would you say that on screen?"
So on that note, well, first should give it. Any final thoughts before we give the rating?
It's fun. Don't take it serious. Don't expect it to be life-changing. Just enjoy it for what it is. Yeah. Get some popcorn. Turn your brain off for a little bit. And, you'll enjoy it, and then you'll forget it a week later. Exactly. And that's okay.
Yeah. It's better than Suicide Squad. It's better than Batman vs. Superman. It's better than a whole lot of the DC garbage that's come out recently. Is it Wonder Woman? No. But it's definitely below Wonder Woman as far as like the DC pantheon of movies that they've released. So with that being said,
number 3.
Yeah. With that being said,
third best.
Just because you put Man of Steel there, but I don't. But anyways, but the point being, this movie is just fun. It's basically Jason Momoa in water for 2.5 hours. If you like that, go watch the movie. It was fun to watch him do all the stupid silly things. That's it. That's what you get.
Yeah,
it's fun. The action's fun. It's a standalone film.
Creatures look great.
Yeah, the creatures look great.
There's a drumming octopus.
I think James Wan did his best with the character of Aquaman. Because what the hell do you do with Aquaman? I
agree.
So there was the way that it could have gone originally. I think the way that they went in this direction was a much better way.
Yeah. It didn't take itself too seriously, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah. There's a moment where Jason Momoa does the Aquaman pose at the very, very end of the movie, and I just burst out laughing.
Well, it's not like Entourage. I don't know if you guys ever saw Entourage, but in Entourage, the TV show, the lead actor becomes famous because he gets the cast as Aquaman.
Oh, okay.
In the James Cameron film Aquaman.
Wow.
Which is in the show. So
and it looked really bad.
It looked really bad. So
that's funny.
It could have gone that direction. Thankfully, it didn't. Yeah. So, and the reason why they picked Aquaman, which is I know I'm going off tangent, was because they thought it would never in a million years get made because it's the most like ridiculous character.
It is a ridiculous character.
So the fact that it got made, and I felt like they accomplished what they needed to do with this film.
I think they did. Agreed.
And this movie, if you're curious to know when the timeline is, it does take place after Justice League.
It does.
So I felt like they at least picked it up for him. Because Justice League was kind of a...
It was bad.
It wasn't bad, but
I rewatched it. It was really bad.
I would say this is better than Justice. This as far as what's going on, I would say this is definitely like it's a fun. It's like visually it's just super colorful.
It is.
Well.
Yeah.
It's like Finding Nemo in the ocean.
Or like Little Mermaid. It's literally all these sea under the sea movies.
Yeah. But darker.
Yeah,
and the darker sequences.
You also get CGI faces in this with Willem Dafoe and
Nicole Kidman as well, and the father.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we will go ahead and rate this a dine-in, watch it in theaters. Technically all three movies are dine-in. So if you have not seen any movies this week, get busy and watch all of them in theaters.
Yeah. See Bumblebee.
Unless you've heard my dissent.
So what is the one movie you guys would see if you could only see one of these three films?
I wish I saw Bumblebee. I really wish I saw Bumblebee.
Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins.
Surprisingly.
Okay. I haven't seen Mary Poppins.
Which one would you pick?
I mean, out of the two, I would say Bumblebee, but I haven't seen Mary Poppins yet.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Well. All right. So on that note, thank you so much, Z, for hosting. Also, Mike for hosting, and thank you, Dan, for hosting.
Thank you.
Since you guys never thank me, I might as well just thank myself.
Yeah.
Thank you also for listening and watching us live. If you're watching us live on Facebook, thank you so much. If you're listening to us on iTunes, Stitcher, or SoundCloud, thank you so much. Make sure to follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We also have YouTube. You can find all that on our website, moviemenupodcast.com. Again, that's moviemenupodcast with an S.com. And we'll be back next week with a new episode of Movie Menu Podcast.
Yes.
Thank you. Goodbye.
3, 4.